There's a weed growing in your backyard right now with more omega-3 than a bag of spinach, and there's a decent chance you ripped it out yesterday and threw it in the compost. There's a seed so small you could lose it in your palm that Jesus used to describe the entire kingdom of heaven, and that same seed is probably sitting, mostly ignored, in your spice cabinet right now. And the fish everyone tells you to eat for omega-3, it has never made a single drop of it. It stole that fat from something else entirely, something we're getting to today. 20 plants, ranked in an order. Nobody's used before, some ancient, some sitting in your fridge right now, one probably growing under your feet. As you watch this, one honest note. First, almost everything here delivers omega-3 as ALA, alpha-linolenic acid. Your body uses it directly, and research ties it to real heart and brain benefits, but it isn't identical to the marine omega-3 inches fish, and your body converts only a small portion into that form. Treat this list as part of a balanced lifestyle, not a replacement for anything your doctors told you. Let's start with the weed. On Purslane. Have you ever spent a Saturday pulling a low, fleshy-leaved weed out of your garden beds and pitching it in the yard waste bin? You were likely throwing away the best source of omega-3 of any leafy plant ever tested. Purslane is a sprawling succulent with paddle-shaped leaves and reddish stems, holding somewhere between 300 and 400 milligrams of alpha-linolenic acid per 100 grams of fresh leaf, roughly 5 times what you'd get from spinach. It's also one of the only land plants on Earth known to contain trace amounts of the marine omega-3s, usually locked inside fish. Much of what we know about that traces back to 1980s research by Dr. Artemis Simopoulos, a pioneer of omega-3 science who first measured just how much was hiding inside a plant. Most people treat as a nuisance. Here's a strange one for anyone who grew up in Sunday school. In Job chapter 6, verse 6, there's an obscure Hebrew word that some Bible scholars and older Bible dictionaries have translated not as the white of an egg, as most modern versions render it, but as the juice of purslane. It's tart, faintly lemony, best eaten raw, though go easy if you're prone to kidney stones, since it carries natural oxalates. Always be sure of your identification before eating anything growing wild. If a weed can outperform every leafy green on the planet, what else have we gotten wrong? We're starting with something most people assume is just cattle feed. 2. Soybeans. Say soybean, and most people picture animal feed, or some unpronounceable ingredient buried on a label. Almost nobody pictures omega-3. But soybeans, especially their young green form, edamame, carry a genuinely meaningful dose of alpha-linolenic acid. A cup of cooked edamame delivers around 1/3 of a gram, alongside a full serving of plant protein. Soybeans have been cultivated in East Asia for more than 3,000 years, and ancient Chinese texts counted them among the 5 sacred grains, alongside rice and wheat. They're also one of the richest plant sources of isoflavones compounds, studied for decades for their hormone-related effects, and one of the few plant proteins considered genuinely complete with all 9 essential amino acids. Have you ever eaten a bowl of edamame at a restaurant without realizing you were eating one of the most studied plants in nutrition science? Somewhere between sacred grain and afterthought, this bean lost its story. Up next, a seed so small, Jesus used it to describe real faith and so ordinary. A version of it is probably in your fridge door right now. 3 mustard greens. Here's a plant hiding inside one of the most famous parables ever told. In Matthew 13, Mark 4, and Luke 13, Jesus compares the kingdom of heaven to a mustard seed, the smallest of all seeds. Yet it grows into a tree big enough for birds to nest in. That's the same plant family behind mustard greens and the bright yellow condiment sitting in half the fridges in America. Mustard greens carry meaningfully more alpha-linolenic acid than many milder greens next to them in the produce aisle, and they've been grown for food and folk medicine for thousands of years across Asia, Europe, and Africa. The peppery bite comes from glucosinolate sulfur compounds. Your body breaks down into isothiocyanates during digestion, chemicals that have drawn serious interest from cancer researchers for years. Mustard greens are also a strong source of vitamin K. In the American South, home cooks simmered these greens for hours, turning a fast-growing, cold-hardy plant into a dish people still crave today. Ever wonder why a tiny mustard seed became the go-to metaphor for faith? Maybe because, like Omega-3 itself, its power was disproportionate to its size. Speaking of things that don't look like much, wait until you see what's inside a rainforest pod shaped like a five-pointed star. Sacha Inchi. Deep in the Amazon, a climbing vine produces star-shaped pods that Peruvian communities have cultivated for centuries. Roasted, the seeds inside taste like a cross between a peanut and an almond, and dramatically outperform almost everything else on this list. Sacha Inchi is exceptionally high in alpha-linolenic acid. A single serving can deliver nearly 3 times the omega-3 of the same amount of walnuts. It's also rich in highly digestible plant protein and loaded with vitamin E, which helps protect its own delicate oils from spoiling nature, building in its own preservative. For most of human history, this was a jungle secret, unknown outside the villages that grew it. Only in the last couple decades has it appeared on health food shelves, most buyers unaware they're holding one of the most concentrated omega-3 seeds on the planet. Have you ever picked up a snack labeled ancient Peruvian superfood and assumed it was just marketing? In this case, it isn't. Now let's talk about a vegetable so associated with childhood dinner table dread that an entire generation grew up convinced it was punishment, not food. 5. Brussels sprouts. Few vegetables carry as much baggage as Brussels sprouts. For generations, they were boiled into a soft, grey, sulfurous mush that buried, right along with the flavor, a genuinely surprising nutritional secret. These miniature cabbages, grown clustered along a tall stalk, carry roughly 170 milligrams of alpha-linolenic acid per 100 gram cooked serving. That sounds modest next to flaxseed, but you eat vegetables by the cupful, not the tablespoon. Those milligrams add up over a real meal, in a way a spoonful of oil never quite matches. Brussels sprouts belong to the same cruciferous family as broccoli, kale, and cabbage, all of which produce glucosinolates, sulfur compounds converted into protective plant chemicals. They were cultivated across northern Europe for centuries because they survived cold that killed off nearly everything else. Have you ever tried Brussels sprouts as an adult, roasted hot and fast until the edges turned dark and crisp, and wondered why nobody warned you they could actually taste good? If a boiled, mushy vegetable was hiding real nutrition the whole time, what else got a reputation it never deserved? Something with a scent so strong, its name is practically synonymous with the entire mint family. That's next. Seeds, Perilla. Ask most Americans what Perilla is, and you'll get a blank stare. Ask almost anyone in Korea, Japan, or China, and you'll get a recipe. Perilla, sometimes called shiso, is a fragrant mint family herb that's been an East Asian kitchen staple for centuries. Its broad leaves wrap grilled meat in Korea, its roasted seeds ground into savory sauces. Here's the number that puts it near the very top of this list. Perilla seed oil contains somewhere between 54 and 64% alpha-linolenic acid, one of the highest concentrations of omega-3 ever measured in a plant oil, rivaling flaxseed and chia. Some of its flavor comes from rosmarinic acid, an antioxidant compound Perilla shares with mint family cousins like rosemary and basil, one that's drawn real interest from researchers studying inflammation. Why did such a powerhouse never cross into American gardens? Mostly geography and timing, it never made the seed catalogs that shaped Western agriculture, even though it grows easily here. Have you ever eaten Korean barbecue, wrapped your meat in a broad green leaf, and had no idea you were eating one of the most concentrated omega-3 sources on Earth? Up next, a bean with a much darker warning label, one that connects to a story about a king running for his life. 7. Kidney beans. In 2 Samuel chapter 17, King David is fleeing his own son's rebellion, hiding in the wilderness when loyal supporters arrive with food to keep him alive. Among the provisions, beans, alongside lentils, wheat, and barley. One of the oldest food deliveries on record, kidney beans and navy beans carry small but real amounts of alpha-linolenic acid. The number per serving is modest, but beans are eaten in large quantities as daily staples across the Americas, and the Mediterranean. Small amounts eaten often outperform rare amounts eaten occasionally. They're also rich in resistant starch, feeding beneficial gut bacteria. Here's the part almost nobody knows. Raw or undercooked kidney beans contain a natural toxin called phytohemagglutinin that can cause serious stomach illness if the beans aren't properly boiled. A slow cooker on low doesn't always get hot enough to destroy it. Food safety agencies specifically warn that dry beans need a hard, rolling boil for at least 10 minutes. Canned beans have already done that work for you. Have you ever tossed dry beans in a slow cooker on low and walked away for 8 hours without a second thought? Worth double-checking next time. This next plant hides in bright yellow fields. Most drivers pass without a glance, and its name was invented on purpose to sell you on it. 8. Canola. Drive past a field of brilliant yellow flowers in early summer, and you're almost certainly looking at canola, a member of the cabbage family whose seeds get pressed into one of the most common cooking oils in America. The word canola didn't exist until 1978, when Canadian breeders refined an older crop called rapeseed and needed a new name to distance it from rapeseed's reputation. The name blends Canada and Ola, built to suggest Canadian oil, low acid, essentially invented by a marketing committee. And true, a tablespoon delivers well over a gram of alpha-linolenic acid, and because canola is mild and inexpensive, it slips into everyday cooking far more often than pricier oils like flax or perilla could. One real caution: those beneficial fats are fragile, and high heat breaks them down. Reach for a cold-pressed bottle when you can, and save your hottest pan work for a sturdier oil. Have you ever grabbed the cheapest bottle of oil on the shelf, never realizing it was quietly delivering more omega-3 than half the specialty oils next to it? Coming up, a nut so specifically shaped that ancient healers thought it was a message from nature itself, and they weren't entirely wrong to pay attention. 9. Walnuts. Crack open a walnut. Its wrinkled halves look remarkably like a tiny human brain. For centuries, old-world healers took that seriously, following a folk belief that a plant's shape hinted at what it was meant to help. The folklore accidentally landed on something real. Walnuts are the only common tree nut that qualifies as an excellent source of plant-based omega-3, a single 1-ounce handful delivering about 2.5 grams of alpha-linolenic acid, far ahead of almonds, pecans, or cashews. There's a possible biblical trace too. In Song of Solomon 6:11, the speaker describes a garden of nuts. The Hebrew word used, egos, is still the word for walnut in Hebrew today, and many scholars believe the passage describes an actual walnut orchard, valuable enough in the ancient Near East to inspire poetry. Modern science has found something else. Walnuts are rich in compounds called L-argitannins, which certain gut bacteria convert into molecules called urolithins, a genuinely active area of current research into cellular health. But walnuts are fragile. Those same healthy oils go rancid fast. Have you ever bitten into a walnut that tasted sharp and bitter, assuming that was just how they tasted? It wasn't. Buy them fresh, store them cold, and taste before you trust the bag. From a nut shaped like a brain, we move to something so small, you'd need a microscope to see just one, possibly the single most nutrient-dense organism on this entire list. 10. Chlorella and Spirulina. These are the 2 smallest living things on this list, so small a single cell is invisible to the eye. Sold as vivid green powders, Chlorella and Spirulina have quietly become 2 of the most nutrient-dense foods anywhere. Worth knowing. Chlorella is a true single-celled green alga, but spirulina technically isn't algae at all. It's a cyanobacterium, sometimes called blue-green algae, older and more primitive than its green cousin. Both carry meaningful protein, iron, and antioxidants, plus omega-3s from the same long-chain marine family fish are famous for. Communities around certain lakes in Africa and Central America have harvested spirulina and dried it into cakes for centuries. One honest caution, since it gets repeated online and shouldn't be. Spirulina is often marketed as a great vegan source of B12, but most of what it contains is a pseudo B12 analog your body can't actually use. If you're relying on it for that purpose, the science doesn't fully back the claim. Always buy from a tested source, since these organisms absorb whatever is in the water they grow in. Have you ever stirred a spoonful of bright green powder into a smoothie without knowing you were drinking something with roots in ancient lakeside villages on 2 different continents? If any of these plants have genuinely surprised you so far, hit like it. Helps this reach more people who'd want to know this too. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's a good moment. Let's keep going. This next plant thrived across an entire continent for thousands of years until it was almost completely forgotten in a single century. Elephant, Camelina. Say Camelina out loud to almost anyone, and you'll get confusion. Yet this plant, sometimes called false flax or gold of pleasure, was feeding people across Europe as far back as the Bronze Age. Thousands of years before the modern supermarket existed, Camelina seeds press into an oil rich in alpha-linolenic acid, typically 35 to 45%. What made it valuable to farmers with no refrigeration was its stability. It naturally resists spoiling, thanks to a strong natural supply of tocopherols, or vitamin E, acting as a built-in preservative. That stability may explain why it survived as a staple crop for so long, and why industrial agriculture eventually pushed it aside anyway, not because it stopped working, but because other crops scaled better. Today, sustainable farmers are bringing it back, drawn to a tough plant that thrives in poor soil with very little water, at a moment when those qualities matter again. Have you ever wondered how many once essential crops just quietly vanished from memory, not because they failed, but because something else was slightly easier to industrialize? Here's a food most people throw directly in the trash every single autumn, without a second thought. 12 pumpkin seeds. Every October, millions of pumpkins get carved into jack-o'-lanterns, and millions of handfuls of seeds get scraped out and thrown straight into the trash, one of the most consistent, large-scale food wastes in America, happening once a year like clockwork. Those seeds, often called pepitas, are dense with nutrition plant omega-3, some of the highest magnesium content of any common seed, plus zinc and quality protein. Native peoples across the Americas cultivated pumpkins and squash for thousands of years and never wasted the seeds, roasting and grinding them for winter. One honest note: pumpkin seeds actually contain more omega-6 fat than omega-3, so they work best as one piece of a varied diet rather than a dedicated source on their own. Have you ever carved a pumpkin as a kid and watched an adult scoop the seeds straight into a garbage bag with no idea what was being thrown away? Rinse them, toss with oil and salt, and roast until golden. A 5-minute fix for a mistake, repeated in kitchens every fall. Then there's a plant so obscure that even most professional gardeners couldn't identify it by sight yet. Its oil contains a form of omega-3. Your body may handle better than almost anything else here. 13. Echium. Here's a plant that will stump even serious gardeners. Echium, sometimes called viper's bugloss, produces striking spikes of blue and purple flowers that honeybees find almost irresistible, and for centuries, that's mostly what it was known for. But its seed oil contains something genuinely rare, a compound called stearidonic acid, a form of omega-3 that sits partway between the ALA found in most plants and the EPA found in fish. Your body appears to convert it into usable omega-3 more efficiently than it converts ordinary ALA, meaning gram for gram. This obscure wildflower's oil may deliver more functional omega-3 than plants, with a much higher total ALA number. Echium grew wild across Europe for centuries, dismissed as a roadside weed and occasionally used in old folk remedies. Only recently have researchers studied its oil seriously, and it remains hard to find outside specialty shops. Have you ever walked past a wildflower on a roadside, assumed it was just a weed, and never wondered what might actually be inside it? One More Green gets more health food praise than almost anything else on this list, for reasons that have almost nothing to do with why it's actually here. 14. Chia Spinach. Spinach has built one of the strongest health food reputations of any vegetable on earth, praised endlessly for its iron, its vitamins, its fiber. Almost nobody mentions omega-3, and here's why. Compared to purslane or flax, its amount is genuinely small, around 50 milligrams of alpha-linolenic acid per 100 grams of leaves. But context matters. People eat spinach by the fistful, blended into smoothies, wilted into eggs, piled into salads, and small amounts eaten in real volume add up in ways a spoonful of superfood oil sometimes doesn't. Spinach originated in ancient Persia, prized for centuries by cooks and folk healers for its dark, mineral-rich leaves. It also carries real amounts of lutein, a pigment studied for eye health, and dietary nitrates, linked to healthier blood flow. One practical note: cook it as little as possible, or eat it raw, since those delicate omega-3 fats break down faster with heat. Have you ever eaten spinach purely because you were told it was healthy, without knowing which specific nutrients were actually doing the work? Coming next, something that grows so fast and survives such brutal cold that it's easy to forget. It's technically the same species as 3 or 4 other vegetables in your fridge right now. 15. Kale. Kale spent the better part of a decade as the single most talked about vegetable in America, juiced, massaged into salads, printed on t-shirts. Almost all of that attention went toward its vitamins and fiber, almost none toward omega-3. Even though a cup of cooked kale carries a small, real amount of alpha-linolenic acid, here's a fact that surprises people every time. Kale, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts are all, technically, the same species, Brassica oleracea, shaped into wildly different vegetables through centuries of selective breeding. Kale is essentially what that species looks like left closest to its wild form. It's also one of the oldest cultivated greens in history, grown across Europe for more than 2,000 years, long before the tightly headed cabbage we know today existed. It thrives in brutal cold and turns sweeter after a hard frost, a genuine lifeline in old winter gardens. Have you ever wondered why kale can survive a frost that kills off nearly everything else in the garden overnight? There's a seed coming up that makes some people nervous for reasons that have nothing to do with its nutrition, and everything to do with a name it shares with something else entirely. 16. Hemp seeds. Let's clear this up immediately. Hemp seeds, often sold as hemp hearts, will not get you high and will not affect your mind. What they will do is deliver one of the most balanced fat profiles of any food here. A 3-tablespoon serving delivers roughly 3 grams of alpha-linolenic acid, a complete protein with all 9 essential amino acids, and a generous dose of magnesium. Hemp also carries gamma-linolenic acid, a rare omega-6 found in very few foods, and its omega-3 to omega-6 ratio is one many researchers consider close to ideal for the human body, genuinely uncommon in the plant world. A debated biblical footnote worth mentioning honestly. Some scholars have proposed that the kane bosom in Exodus 30:23, part of the holy anointing oil recipe, may refer to cannabis. It's a real theory argued in academic circles for decades, and it remains unproven and disputed, not settled fact. What is settled is the history. For centuries, hemp was one of the most useful crops a farm could grow, its fiber becoming rope, sailcloth, and clothing, before falling out of favor for reasons that had nothing to do with its nutrition. Have you ever avoided a food purely because of its name, without ever checking whether that reputation was actually deserved? Here's the plant that finally explains something you've probably wondered your whole life. How does a fish actually get its omega-3 inches the first place? 17. Seaweed and algae. It's a question worth sitting with. How does a fish get its omega-3? It doesn't make it. It eats it specifically. It eats algae, the true bottom of the food chain source of the marine omega-3s credited to salmon and tuna. Every time, certain edible seaweeds and algae carry those same marine omega-3s directly, skipping the fish. Coastal communities in Japan, Korea, Wales, and Ireland have harvested seaweed for centuries, weaving it into soups, breads, and daily meals. There's a striking scriptural echo here too. In Jonah chapter 2, verse 5, praying from inside the great fish, Jonah describes the ocean closing over him with seaweed wrapped around my head. In the wording, several modern translations use a rare direct mention of the ocean plant most people never think about. Modern science has found a workaround. Certain marine microalgae, grown commercially in controlled tanks, are now the source of most vegan DHA supplements on the market. Fish-style omega-3 without ever involving a fish. Have you ever taken a fish oil supplement and wondered where the fish actually got it from in the first place? One more seed was so valuable to an ancient civilization that it was literally used to pay taxes. 18. Chia seeds. Long before chia became smoothie bowl decoration, it was something far more serious. Its name comes from an ancient word meaning strength, and among the Aztec and Maya, chia was valued enough that entire regions paid it to their rulers, as tribute records like the Codex Mendoza list it as a formal tax payment, alongside maize and beans. Warriors and long-distance runners reportedly carried small pouches of these seeds on grueling journeys for sustained energy. The numbers back it up. A single ounce, about 2 tablespoons, delivers more than 5 grams of alpha-linolenic acid, one of the most concentrated plant sources of omega-3 that exists. The mechanism is almost as interesting as the number. Chia is covered in a soluble fiber that absorbs many times its own weight in liquid, swelling into a soft gel. Exactly why it's easy to eat in real quantity. Stir a spoonful into water or juice and give it 10 to 15 minutes to work. Have you ever eaten chia pudding as a trendy modern breakfast without knowing you were eating something ancient warriors once relied on to survive? Last stretch. The fruit almost everyone already loves, and the one reason it might be quietly making every other plant on this list work better. 19. Avocado. Almost everyone already loves avocado. Almost nobody associates it with omega-3, and honestly, they're not wrong. Its own alpha-linolenic acid content is fairly modest. Here's why it still earns a spot. Avocado is rich in monounsaturated fat, which actively helps your body absorb fat-soluble nutrients from whatever you eat alongside it. Researchers have found that adding avocado to a salad measurably increases how much of the beneficial plant compounds your body actually absorbs. A Purslane salad, with a few slices on top, may deliver considerably more usable nutrition than either food alone. One fun fact: botanically, an avocado isn't a vegetable at all. It's classified as a single-seeded berry, the same category as tomatoes and bananas. The avocado has been cultivated in Mexico and Central America for thousands of years, valued highly enough in some ancient societies that it was occasionally buried alongside the dead. Have you ever added avocado to a salad purely because it tasted good, with no idea it might be helping your body absorb everything else on the plate? We've saved one plant for last, not because it's the most powerful, but because, in a very real sense, this entire list started with it. 20. Flaxseed. Turn to Joshua chapter 2. And you'll find Rahab hiding 2 spies on her rooftop under stalks of flax laid out to dry. One of the earliest mentions of this plant in recorded history. Flax's fiber became the fine linen described throughout Exodus and Leviticus, woven into priestly garments and tabernacle curtains, later used in Revelation to symbolize righteousness. Humans have grown this plant for at least 30,000 years, making it one of the oldest cultivated crops on Earth. While ancient civilizations valued flax mainly for its fiber, its seed turns out to be the richest plant source of omega-3 on the planet. A single tablespoon of ground flaxseed delivers around 2 grams of alpha-linolenic acid, more omega-3 than most people get, in an entire day from anything else they eat. Here's the detail that trips people up. It has to be ground. Whole flax seeds are tough enough that they often pass through the body, completely undigested, taking all that omega-3 with them. Grind it fresh and store it in the fridge in a sealed jar, since those delicate oils turn rancid quickly once they meet air and light. One more piece of real science. Flaxseed is also the richest known dietary source of compounds called lignans, plant chemicals studied for decades for their hormone-related effects in the body. Have you ever added a spoonful of flaxseed to your oatmeal without any idea you were holding a plant old enough to have clothed people in the Book of Exodus? 20 plants just told us something important. Omega-3 was never locked away inside fish alone. It's growing in the weeds you pulled out of your garden last weekend, hiding in a seed small enough to inspire a parable, waiting in a field of yellow flowers you've driven past 100 times, and sitting at the bottom of the ocean food chain long before any fish ever swam past it and took the credit. None of this replaces what your doctors told you, but it might change what's on your plate. If one of these 20 genuinely surprised you, hit like. It helps this reach people who'd want to know this too. Drop a comment and tell me which number caught you off guard most. The weed at 1, the mustard seed at 3, the fish that steals its omega-3 at 17. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's the moment. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. There's a lot more of this coming.